Hello everyone, this is Ernesto with Aftershoot. Today I'm with my beautiful wife, Antonella, and we have a different kind of video. So remember when we did that tutorial where I was giving you tips to shoot portraits outside? Well, we used a flash for most of those photos. So today we're gonna have a different video and we're gonna focus on taking portraits using natural ambient light. Let's get started. Okay, so the first thing I'm gonna tell you guys to do is to find some shade. Granted, we are going to shoot some photos outside, but for the beginning of the photo shoot, you can find an area where the sun is not exactly hitting you, where you can shoot some photos. So that's what we're gonna do right here, right now. Okay, so there's a couple of things you gotta consider even though you found a place with shade, and that is, what is your light source? Granted, we're not using a flash, so we don't have an external light source, but there is a light source inside this room, and that's obviously the windows. I am not going to shoot against the windows, and that's very important because a lot of people are like, oh, you know what? The outside looks so pretty. It looks so nice. Let me shoot with the windows in the background. And that works if you have a nice background outside the windows and if you have a flash to fight the outside light that's gonna be coming in. But in my situation, with no flash, just using natural light, I'm not gonna be able to shoot against the windows because my subject is gonna be backlit. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna use the windows as my main light source, and I'm gonna shoot with my subject away from the windows. Also, another thing I'm gonna do today in this video is I'm shooting with manual lenses. Why? Well, just because I like complicating my life. Okay, so we have this beautiful spot right here, and we're going to use some elements in the foreground and the background to create some depth. I'm not just gonna shoot the subject and that's it. I'm gonna use the elements in the environment, in the front and in the back of the subject to create some sort of photography sandwich. Okay, so we shot some photos, and there's something very important that I gotta tell you guys. So something you gotta avoid when you're shooting photos in a spot or an area that doesn't have a lot of light is you wanna avoid your subject getting dead eyes. So what are dead eyes? If you found a place that is too isolated from any light source, then chances are your subject is not gonna have any light reflection on their eyes. Those little light reflections give your subject life. If your subject is lacking any sort of light reflection on their eyes, it's gonna seem like they have no soul, like they're gone, like they're not there. They're like kind of zombies. So I'm gonna put some examples here so you guys can see what I mean with dead eyes, but always make sure there's a glimpse of light, some sort of reflection on your subject's eyes so you can know you avoided getting dead eyes. Okay, so we are getting to our next spot. I'm gonna use that bench, some of the branches in the background, and I'm gonna shoot some photos over here. And something very important that you guys have to take into consideration is the following tip. You have to know where the light is coming from. We do not have a flash today, so we're not able to put the light where we want it to be, but we do have the sun. So we have to see where the sun is coming from, and after we know where the light is coming from, we can place our subject purposely using the sunlight as our main light. So I know the sun is right over there, and I know that if I put my subject in the bench right here, the sun is gonna be hitting her straight in, so that it's gonna be my main light coming in and generating that shadow in that direction. If you guys don't know where the sun is coming from because it's kind of cloudy or whatever, well, you gotta look down and you gotta see where your shadow is, and that's gonna give you the position of the sun. So sun is coming from over there, the bench is right here, the light is coming straight to me right here, so it's a perfect spot for our next photo. Okay, so while we move to another spot, I'm gonna tell you something that is also important for you to keep in consideration. So we are outside and we are fighting against or with the sun, depending on how you're shooting your photo. So at some point, you might have to sacrifice something when it comes to exposure. Either you're exposing for your subject because you want to see your subject, or you're exposing for the sky. So if I'm exposing for my subject, sometimes the sky will turn out white in my photo, and that might be a sacrifice I have to make in order to be able to see my subject. Or sometimes I might just want to see the whole scene in general, and I'm going to be exposing for the sky. Okay, so we have a nice spot right here. The sun is still coming from over there, so it's gonna hit my model right here in this area, and I have some green in the background to disguise the fact that the sky would turn out to be white if I was exposing for my subject right here, just like I said. Let's do it. All right, that's it for today. We're done with the photo shoot. Those are some ways you can work around and deal with a natural light portrait photo shoot. As always, don't forget to follow Aftershoot in all of our social media to be always up to date with the latest we have to offer. See you guys in the next one.
See ya!
Bye-bye.